What's up, gangsters? It's random time. Okay, so let's do some random stuff. First thing is mail call. Not that you guys care that much, but I always like to give shout outs to people who send me stuff. And this little bit of deliciousness came in the mail from David Wassel, who is one of our longtime good members of Scale Modelers Critique Group. And what these are, if you can't tell, is they are dental burrs, and I use these in my Proxon. These things are great. You can usually get them for free from your dentist, because when they're used for those guys, they still have a ton of life left for us. And you can see there's one in my Proxon. It's a larger size. These things are super handy. You got to do just a little bit of finishing work, or you got a seam line or something that's in a place that's difficult to sand. You can actually take care of that with one of these things. And the faster you spin them, usually the better. I've got this one spinning pretty quick right now. You don't have to worry about that old 5,000 RPM myth. You're only going to melt stuff if you're just jamming it in there and using too much pressure. And the key there is to just use a light touch. Okay, one of the other things that I got that I think are worth mentioning, because a lot of people don't know about these. I didn't until, I think it was Bill West, another SMCG guy, told me about them, is this. If you like to make dioramas or you need simple bases, it's hard to get the camera where it'll show the whole thing because it comes in a pack of 4. You can see these are 10 by 10 birch wooden painting panels, and a number of companies make these. I got these on Amazon, and it's a 4-pack, so you can see they're pretty thick. These are like 1.5 inches thick. I mean, they're really nice. They're very flat. They stay flat. You can build stuff on top of them, and they're just a great solution if you need bases and you don't want to have to build them. And they're not expensive. I think I paid probably like $15 for that set of 4. Okay, cool. Now, if you're making dioramas, you may also be occasionally wanting to do something like this, corrugated metal. And this is a cool thing. You guys have heard me talk about John Geigel. I've had him make some SLA parts for me. He's a super cool guy. He's one of the main administrators of the Tamiya magazine group on Facebook. And he's just a good dude, and he does a lot of cool shit. He has a company called Masterpiece Models, which you can find at masterpiecemodels.com. And they make this neat little tool. This is 3D printed, I believe, on probably one of his FDM machines. But this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a gizmo for making corrugated sheets for your dioramas. And basically, it comes with this little tool set. This is the 1/35th scale. When it comes in a bunch of scales, 1/24th, 1/16th, 1/48th, 1/72nd, and it ranges in price from $19.95, I think, to $29.95. And it's just really well thought out. This is the template that you use to properly size the lead sheet that he also sends you. And this is clever. You just put the template on there like that, hold it down, draw around it, cut it out, put it in the thing, and then you can see it's got the pattern on the bottom of it. You mash it on there, and blammo, you have a really realistic and cool piece of corrugated metal for, you know, your barn roof or whatever. So this is neat. I had not thought about getting one of these because haven't needed this in a diorama, but John told me he wanted to send it to me, and I am always enthusiastic with anything he's got. If you look at his site, which, as I said, masterpiecemodels.com, he has a lot of really neat and unique kits on there, like a 1/35th scale Waco glider. He's got dinosaurs. He's got diorama stuff. Just a neat offering. And if you need custom SLA, I think he's your guy. All right, back to kit projects. One last thing to say about the Spitfire before I park it for a while. Actually, I already have, but somebody who was watching the last segment where I was going on about, you know, the E-wing and the C-wing and using the Browning and all that, picked up on the fact that I had the Freedom dispensers transposed. Yep, the Ma Deuce needs to go on the inside station, not the outside. I had seen some pictures with it on the outside, and if you are just going off of the instructions, you're going to think it goes on the outside because that's where the little bulbous insert goes for a C-wing, and the cannon goes here. But they swapped them around when they started putting the M2 in there, and I should have seen it because it was on the if you ever go to spitfiresite.com, which is a wealth of information, they've got great pictures on there that very clearly show it on the inside station. But I was probably just out of my mind and missed out on that. It happens a lot. But anyway, I moved on and went back to working on Stompy the robot, which is what that 10-inch base thing is going to be for. And I'm pretty stoked because after about a week of painting and heavy-duty chipping work, Stompy is done. Well, done with basic paint and chipping work. And now he can move on to some weathering, which is, I mean, I've already been doing a lot of weathering because chipping and fading and that sort of thing is in my mind part of weathering, but it happens during the painting stage for me because that's just my first thing I do is I take care of you know, whatever's going to actually happen as part of paint degradation. So I've been working hard on that, and it was hard work. You know, this chipping with MRP, it's a lacquer, is a little tougher than it is with a normal acrylic like Tamiya or Vallejo or whatever. Tamiya's not really a normal acrylic, so don't start sending me, you know, hateful comments for saying that. We all know it's a hybrid thing. But anyway, I'm getting off track as usual. Bottom line is, MRP or any lacquer is tougher to chip. And I like to get after it about the time that I'm done cleaning the airbrush. I make it a little bit easier by putting a coat of aqua gloss on top of the rust base, because while MRP chips off of itself fairly well, like you can see in places where, like on his leg right here, I've got dark green over light green on the camo. The dark green comes off pretty easily, but for whatever reason, I think I've said this before, MRP sticks like crazy to Stynylrez primer, which is what I use for my rust base. And so what I do to ease the chipping is I put a pretty solid coat of aqua gloss on there, and it does help out a lot so that it comes off. But it's still a lot of work. I mean, like like these feet, I chipped, like I said, about as soon as I got done cleaning my airbrush, and most of this is just done with a toothbrush and just scrubbing it like a filthy stepchild. I mean, it takes elbow grease. Each one of these legs took me about 2.5 hours to paint and chip. But I really feel like that the work is, I mean, the juice is worth the squeeze, because the way that MRP chips is just so nice. I think I've said this before. A lot of this is done with sanding, but then I get down to the actual chipping, and you can see these nice tiny little chips that it makes, and it's just super cool. But I'm really glad to finally be able to see Stompy getting close to his finished form, and finally see how the stainless steel tubing that I used for the shock and the hydraulic cylinder look. I'm real happy with the way that came out. This thing has been a challenge because it's not my style to just put something up together 100% and then start painting it, because for me, that doesn't work. There are places where it's tough to get into and paint effectively. And so part of the challenge with this thing is how to figure out an effective painting strategy given the way that it needs to be assembled. And so this thing, has been apart and back together and apart and back together a bunch of times. You can see like I've still got the headlights stuck on there with white tack. One thing that I've used in my favor, which has been pretty cool, is magnets. It's becoming popular with a lot of model makers. I don't know if I can, of course, now that I'm on camera, can't pop it off, but you can see in the back of that thing there is a little magnet. And it's fantastic because it is so easy to, I say it's easy, of course, when you're on camera, it's never easy, but you can see where it plugs in there, and there it goes. And that just makes, when you can't dry fit stuff and count on it staying stuck together, the magnets are just great. They're kind of a pain in the butt to install, but again, it's definitely worth it because I've had this off and on here a dozen times probably over the course of doing this. And it's just been indispensable in helping me do what I feel like is effective painting. Oh, it's 11 minutes and 4 seconds. I'm over time. I gotta quit. I gotta go. That's enough. Bye.